whole day reading Christmas books. I haven't done a readathon for so long, and I keep on meaning to, so this is the perfect excuse because I don't have anything else on to do. So the book I'm starting with is not actually a Christmas book so much as a winter book, but it definitely feels festive, and that is The Miraculous Sweetmakers, The Frost Fair by Natasha Hastings. And I had already started this. I've been reading it this morning and I'm now on page 113. It's a middle grade book which is set at the Frost Fair. Oh, I can't remember the exact date, but it was in the 17th century when the Thames froze over and people walked out onto the ice and they set up stalls and a frost fair. It's a truly wonderful piece of history. Blakely and I did quite a bit of research into it last year, so it's really cool to see a book, especially a children's book, set there. I will let you know how I find this as I keep on going, but at the moment it's just so charming. Let's find an extract of something to read. In total, there were 4 tents on the ice, and nearby 2 women selling canned milk from trays, their cheeks already blotched red by the wind. All the traders waited, shuffling one foot to the other in the cold, wondering if anyone would be bold enough to visit them. Over on the riverbank, the bystanders' curiosity was growing into a real interest now. After several heart-stopping moments, a few of them started making their way towards the tents on the river. But I'm going to leave it there for a second and go and open the first day of my advent calendar. I have got the Bird and Blend advent calendar this year again, and I'm going to open it up. Oh my gosh, I love the colours on this one. This is so cute too. Do you write in your favourite teas here? Oh, that's so good. Do you like organise the boxes? So number 1. Okay, let's see what it is then. I think it says on the back. Gingerbread chai, always starting it strong. Gingerbread chai is very good. And they give you 2 of these. I'm not seeing anyone today though, so I don't know who to send it to. My sister and mum don't like gingerbread. I'll leave it there for now, and I can decide. That's strong. Alright, I'm gonna make myself a gingerbread chai latte. I have obviously tried this tea before, a couple of times, but I haven't tried it this year yet. That's perfectly delicious. It's really good with almond milk as well. You can definitely taste the black tea, and it's like a good classic chai. But the ginger, I mean, it doesn't taste like gingerbread, it tastes like a ginger chai latte, but that's not a bad thing. So I'm going to enjoy this whilst reading some more of this book. I'm now on page 243. I've got about 150 pages left of this. I'm going to grab some water and then come back and finish this, and then I think I'm going to go on a walk because it's such a beautiful morning. It's already starting to lose the mist, so I actually kind of want to go out right now, but this is also very good. The mist today is just magical. Mist is my favourite weather, and I love rain, I love snow, but mist is always my favourite, especially early morning mist. Like, look at that. It's now midday and I've only read one book so far today. I read The Frost Fair and I loved it. I think the descriptions were the real show-stopping point about this book. So magical, so vivid, so vibrant. Natasha Hastings' imagination is just exquisite, and it's so perfect for this time of the year because all of it is, they're all snowscapes, it's frost, it's winter, and yeah, I just thought it was really beautifully done. I would say it's a little bit like Frances Hardinge, that's the closest that I can think, where you start with, you know, like normal occurrence and then it twists into a kind of magical realist fantasy world, which is still very much contained within the real world. But yeah, a very nice way to start the day. I went on my walk and when I got back I felt so inspired for my own book that I let myself spend 45 minutes writing, which I wasn't planning on doing today because I am doing this readathon, but also I just haven't felt as inspired with it over the last few days, and so I wanted to take advantage of that burst. So yeah, that's why it's midday and I've only read one book so far. Now let's go on to the next book. So there are a few books downstairs which I've got and I'm going to go and grab those because I'm not sure what I want to read next. Two of the ones I'm planning on reading are At Christmas We Feast by Annie Gray, which is a history of like Christmas food, and I bought this last year and it looks really good. I've also got A Children's Literary Christmas, which I got it on Christmas last year, and so I didn't read very much because then the Christmas season ended. I've got this one as well, which I haven't read. I got this for Christmas last year too, but I think I'm going to save this one and not read this today. There was one more. I was also thinking potentially of rereading The Nutcracker today. Here we go. I've got these two Christmas books. Christmas A History and also A Christmas Cornucopia by Mark Fawcett. I love his books so much. My dad's just changing the carbon monoxide alarm. This one my sister got me for Christmas 2 years ago. It's a children's book, so I might read that. And I always think of this as being Christmassy, so potentially I will reread this. Another potential option is a David Sedaris. Where is it? I know that I have a copy. It's the Santaland Diaries. Oh, here it is. Maybe I can read this as well. So these are all of the Christmas books that I can choose from. I'm actually really in the mood for this one right now. Why do we do all of these strange things? Why, for a few weeks every year, do we take off our sanity, hang it neatly on the peg, and dive into a sea of insanity while singing about how we saw 3 ships? Not only is it strange, what is stranger still is that we do not think it's strange. Nobody asks where these traditions come from. Well, actually, some people do ask, and they tend to come up with 2 answers which utterly contradict each other. Answer number 1 is that Christmas is all pagan, the lot of it, all pre-Christian stuff from thousands of years ago. The methodology for this usually is something along the lines of Santa Claus has a beard, Odin had a beard, therefore Santa Claus is Odin. By this reasoning, Gilgamesh, the king of the ancient Uruk, is in fact Captain Birdseye because they both have a beard and a boat. This is so funny. Mark Fawcett, I think, is like such a hilarious writer, one of my favourite people to read. heated blanket, of course. I'm currently reading A Christmas Cornucopia by Mark Forsyth. I'm on page 107 and I've only got like 30 pages left. So I'm going to finish this now and then I think I might go outside to do some reading, but I don't know which one I'll read next. Either At Christmas We Feast or the Christmas history one. But okay, Mark Forsyth, I haven't read him for a while now, but his Elements of Eloquence was like in the top 3 books that I read the year I read it. He is just so funny. It's very satirical. He's a very satirical writer, very witty. He teaches in just such an engaging way. It feels very informal and chatty, yet there's a lot of research which goes into it and you're learning so much, but it's not hard to access at all. It's also very quick. It's a very quick read. I'm also using my sticky notes to make notes. I have learned so many interesting things from this book, and most recently just here I've read from the 10th century onwards there were people called boy bishops, which is where the month of Christmas certain choir boys would be chosen to act as bishops for a month, so they would have the power and the authority to order around the actual adult bishops, which reminds me a lot of I'll put the actual name of these on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head, but in the 16th century, around Christmas, there would be a huge party where the feudal system would be reversed. Everyone would be invited to this big party and somebody would be chosen to be kind of the king or like the lord for the party, and they would have the most authority, and it would be one of the workers. And so it's really interesting looking at this idea of turning authority on its head, like having this one day or this one period where everything is in reverse and the structured system collapses. And some theorists I know say about this other tradition with the ball that it's a way of placating people because it's a way of controlling anarchy and uprising. Reading about the boy bishops, it seems very similar. Okay, I'm just going to read the last chapter now. It's so good. I'm taking this very slowly as well. I can't believe it's already 2:30 and this is quite a short book, but it's taken me a while. Not complaining though, because I've really enjoyed it. Joy, love and eggnog are brushed away by the humorless hand of the cruelest of all creatures, the New Year's resolution. Book number 2 read, and next I think I'm going to read At Christmas We Feast. No, I'm actually going to read Christmas, A History by Judith Flanders. But as I say, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to put a coat on and just sit on a bench outside to read instead because it's such a beautiful misty day and I can see it through my window, but it's not the same as being outside. Sometimes all you hear about is the hate, but there is more love in this world than you could possibly imagine. This is one of my favourite books, and if you're looking for a book to get somebody for Christmas, I would recommend this one. I've got myself some peppermint tea in my London Christmas mug from Emma Bridgewater. And I'm about 60 pages into this book. I am not actually really enjoying this, which really surprises me because I love the history of Christmas, but I think the issue is that I have read a lot about the history of Christmas before. I feel like this book might be a good introduction to Christmas if you don't know much at all about the history of Christmas, but if you do know, you know, like a fair amount about the history of Christmas, I'm not finding that there's much new, very interesting stuff that I'm learning. Like, obviously it's well researched, and that's not to say that there aren't things in here which I have enjoyed and that I've learnt. Definitely, I'm just saying that I guess what I'm saying is I'm surprised that I'm not loving it more. I thought I was expecting to really enjoy this book. Did, however, have a section about the Lord of Misrule, which is the thing that I tried to tell you about earlier, but couldn't remember the name of, or couldn't remember the details of that, and that was something that King James VI, or the first, championed. One thing which I did find really interesting actually in this is about gift giving in the 17th century and how that compares to today, because rather than gifts being given to the less fortunate and people who had less money, it was expected that workers and like normal people would give gifts to their employers and their patrons as a way of giving Thanksgiving and saying thank you, and they'd be expected to like give a certain amount depending on what their position was and their salary, which I just found very interesting. It's very different to today and seems very counterintuitive. Something here I've just found that I really like. So, customary in the 18th century to light large candles on Christmas Eve. Francis Qualls, a poet, compared a hypocrite to a Christmas candle whose good name crowns his fair actions with a glorious flame, but stinks at going out. I thought I'd be able to finish this book by 5:30. That was very optimistic. I don't know why I thought that would be possible. I'm on page 177 and it's 6:10. So I've got about 75 pages left, so not actually that much. I am enjoying this more now. I'm preferring the Victorian stuff. I think mostly because Judith Flanders is looking at Christmas literature and unpicking how Christmas literature both presents Christmas, but also how it informs Christmas and how it builds traditions, and that is something I'm very interested in. So it's looked at A Christmas Carol, Little Women, Washington Irving, and I think she does that very well. She's also very good at using things as metaphors for modern society, and there are parts which feel very, very relevant to today. I like it when she is comparing like older Christmas traditions with how it manifests today. So it's Christmas a history, but actually the historical writing I personally don't like as much. The style is quite pre-1960s history. It's very chronological. It's a very chronological account, which yes can work, but I feel like for something as massive as Christmas, it just means that things get a little bit more confused. And when I say this, I mean because Christmas is such a massive thing and there is so much history to it, a more thematic account like what Mark Forsyth does seems more manageable and slightly more cohesive. But that's not to say that there isn't interesting content in the Judith Flanders, especially when it comes to the literature-based stuff. Hey Google, please can you stop the music for a second? I've just had a shower, as you can probably tell, and I am actually again going to write for just a little bit, maybe 20-30 minutes, and then I'm going to read a book which was mentioned quite a bit in both the Christmas history and the Mark Forsyth, which is The Book of Christmas by Thomas Hervey. I'd heard about this book when I was doing like quite a bit of research into Christmas last year and kept meaning to read it, but I never did, and it looks like it's not actually that long, so I'm just going to read it on Project Gutenberg, which Lifehack is the best place to read classics because it's in the public domain. So I'll do some writing, then I'll read that, and then the Truman Capote is so short that I think I'll read that in bed before I go to sleep. I did just find A Christmas Memory is in this edition that I have, so I'm going to read this next. Hello, it's the next morning and I finished A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote last night in bed. Very, very short, not archetypally festive and Christmassy, but also imbued with the spirit of Christmas. It's about two cousins, so the narrator is 7 years old and his best friend is his cousin who is in her 60s. She's very childlike as a person. Every Christmas they save up their money and they make Christmas cakes for people, and it's a massive ordeal and so much love and care goes into it, and the whole short story is built around these Christmas cakes. I think the wonderful thing is that beautiful simplicity of it and that reminder of the things that are most important, but also examining that differentiation between adult and child. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this readathon. Just to give you a quick summary of the books that we read today. So it started off by finishing The Miraculous Sweetmaker, The Frost Fair by Natasha Hastings. 398 pages, but I started on page 50, so that is 348 pages. Next, A Christmas Cornucopia by Mark Forsyth. Christmas: A History by Judith Flanders. I also read A Christmas Memory by Truman Capote, and I read about 130 pages of John Hervey's The Book of Christmas, and I read The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you were able to walk away with some book recommendations, books that you might want to read this Christmas, and I hope that you have a productive week.